Thank you, everybody. Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Ricky Camilleri. And you know, from her Tony Award-winning roles on Broadway to her appearances on shows like Glee, Studio 60, The West Wing, and of course, her incredibly hilarious, perfect performance in last year's Trial and Error, Kristin Chenoweth is a bona fide treasure. And of course, there are her amazing albums, like her new one, which she's here to talk to us about today. For the Girls, featuring 12 beautiful standards like Desperado, The Way We Were, You Don't Own Me, featuring Ariana Grande, which has garnered over 1 million views on YouTube, and I Will Always Love You, featuring Dolly Parton. Everyone, please welcome Kristin Chenoweth. Hello. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Good to see you again.
Too, I miss you.
Oh, that is so
Been a
sweet of you to
second.
say. It has been a little while. I think maybe the last time was for Trial and
I think it
Error,
was like maybe a year and a half ago. Maybe.
which was such an amazing performance, by the way. I know we're here to talk about the album, but I had only seen a couple episodes, but watching that whole show through, I mean, I think you pulled off like one of the performances of the year. It was so
Thank
funny.
you. I have to tell you that when I got that part, I was like, this is my sweet spot. And I just knew with that cast and with the writing, I just was so lucky. And it's probably my favorite part.
Well, were you, again, we will talk about the album, but since we're on this, were you nervous at all about that part? Because you are tasked with pulling off, I think, probably some of the most broad jokes of your career consistently in an episode as well.
I was so nervous because the camera's this big.
Yeah.
And we know what it's like to play comedy for the stage. But that's always the fine line I have to walk whenever I'm doing comedy for film or television. It's like there's that little space that you don't want to cross. But Lavinia is so batshit.
She's so big. I mean, that's why.
She's just crazy, you know? And so, but also finding the heart in that crazy and what is that and who is that? And it's a culmination of many people I know. And a little bit of Kristin in there. That would be, you know, wrong of me not to say, but it was just one of the most fun times I've ever had. In fact, I just want to tell everybody in our cast and Jeff Blitz, our director, and Jeff Astroff that I love you guys and miss you.
They did such a great job, I think, of creating that space for you that is somewhere in between film acting and stage acting as well, because that character was so broad.
No, the things I got asked to do were just like, they were like, do you think you could pick up the entire table of food and plates and throw it out the window? I was like, have we met? Yes. Hold my cig. No, I don't smoke. I don't smoke, but you know what I mean. I just like, this is what I live for.
So let's talk about For the Girls.
Okay.
First and foremost, this album cover. Woo! Sexy. I don't think you've had an album cover like this, have you?
It's definitely different from my normal.
Yeah.
My dad's got the thing, and he was like, you forgot your pants. I was like, I did it on purpose.
How did that happen? Were you just doing the shoot, or was this something that you...
I knew I wanted to do like a strip down, you know, thing, but I didn't know what that was going to look like. And I said, maybe we just have a couple T-shirts there. And we did. And I had jeans. I thought maybe I'd just do jeans and T-shirt. But one of the T-shirts was kind of big, this one. And I was like, well, maybe I just do it with no pants. And, I mean, you know, of course I have on makeup and I have my hair done, but it's light. It's kind of light. Just kind of very... I just wanted women to look at it. I mean, for sure, I have on makeup and I've done my hair. Let's not joke around. But I just, like, I didn't wear lashes. I didn't, you know, I just kind of pink chapstick. I just wanted it to be
Simple.
Yeah. You know, let the title and the music speak for itself. And whilst also not wearing pants.
Good for you.
Thank you. It was comfortable.
I'm sure.
Lunch was very easy that day.
What made you choose these 12 songs? Beautiful selections.
Thank you.
How do you go about choosing songs like this for an album?
Well, I kind of write down songs I want to sing. And sometimes they evolve into my concert tour or whatever. But I was looking at right after I released The Art of Elegance, I was like, what do you want to do? I was writing all these songs down. You know, again, a large list. And it was all women, just with very unique sounds. And I thought, it's kind of for the women. That's what I kept calling it. It's for the women, you know. And then Steve Tyrell, my music producer, we were recording The Way We Were, and he goes, man, this is not for the women. This is for the girls. This is for all y'all. He's like, Texas accent. I was like, I kind of like that. Because there's still a girl in all of us, you know. And the best compliment I can give my dad, because people go, well, is it for men? Well, yeah, it's for the men who love us too. But my dad, I wouldn't be where I am without him constantly encouraging me. So I always say behind strong woman is a great guy, and it doesn't have to be her husband. It can be her best friend, gay best friend. It can be her father. It can be her brother. But mine was my dad, and well, I've had great, strong male influences, but I wouldn't be able to stand in that without my dad going, "You can do what you want to do. Follow your gut."
What kind of man do you have to be to see something that says "for the girls" and think to yourself, "Well, I don't know if I can listen to it"? And you have to be really insecure in your masculinity. I think.
I think because the music is so like,
Yeah.
you know, when you listen to, of course, I'm going to stay in my lane a little bit with Barbra and Judy, especially with The Man That Got Away. But when you think about Leslie Gore and you think about Dinah Washington and Eva Cassidy, and I really want my younger fans to know who that incredible singer was, I just was, you know, I think the music speaks to anybody. If it's good music, you know, what was that movie? If you build
Field
it,
of Dreams?
Yeah, Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. And I think these are just a list of great songs.
Yeah.
And in fact, my favorite one is one of the least known, It Doesn't Matter Anymore, which I heard Eva and Linda both do. A lot of people put their stamp on it, but nobody really, it wasn't a big hit. And I love the lyrics so much. So I'm glad I got that on there. And I just so glad that, you know, I grew up listening to Carole King, Tapestry. You know, my mom loved that record. How could Carole King not be on the album? But there were a lot of them that didn't make it on there too. And I was like, oh, how do I cut Bonnie Raitt? But when you put
what Bonnie Raitt did you cut?
it was I Can't Make You Love Me. I know, right?
That's tough.
It's tough, but a little known fact, it was funny because I said to Steve, I still want to tribute her because, you know, when I grew up in the 80s, like Bonnie Raitt, you know, and he said, let me find a little spot we could put like a little bit of her melody in there, or, you know, Make You Love Me. So in the beginning of I Will Always Love You, if you listen to the measures in the beginning, it's da-na-na-na, da-na. It's like a little hint. I think that's cool. And
what was the Bonnie Raitt album in the 90s? Was it Nick of Time?
Nick of Time.
That album, when I was growing up, was in every home.
Oh, yeah.
Every home had a copy of that
Yeah.
CD.
Back when people were buying actual
Yeah,
still.
she must have made so much money
She
off
made
of that.
Bonnie, you go, girl. You deserve it.
I think about that all the time when I think about like an album or a successful musician in the 80s and 90s. It's like, woof, you made like...
You got in there and talk about Nick of Time.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You were like a treasury department yourself. You were printing money.
It's so true.
And you have Dolly Parton on here for I Will Always Love You, which is a beautiful cover. Were you going to do that song whether you got her or not? And was it just kind of like she ended up coming along, or was it solely based off of whether or not you could get Dolly?
No, it was, I wanted to get Dolly in. If she wanted to sing the phone book, I would have said, start with A's, like sing, you know. But I had a suggestion of Here You Come Bucking, looking better than a body has. Remember that song?
Yeah.
I wanted to maybe do that, and the word got back to me. She said, well, if I'm going to sing with Kristin, you know, I want to do something I wrote.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, she's not going to give me that. And she did, you know. So I was like, well, heck yeah. I mean, wow. But one of her biggest hits, written during a time. And then it went with the theme, because when she really bet on herself to leave Porter Wagner, her mentor, you know. And that was a good lesson for me to remember. Oh, right. When she wrote that, she was like, I have to go. I have to fly. And that was hard for them both. And then she went off and wrote I Will Always Love You and came back and played it for him. So while betting on herself, she's saying goodbye to somebody.
She was leaving him, and she wrote that song, and she played it for him? That is devastating.
It's devastating. I mean, they had such a great working relationship, and he helped make her career, but she knew she had to go on.
I would take that personally and not in a good way. I'd be like, are you torturing me?
I know, right?
Like, just leave. Don't come back and write me, I will always love you.
You know what he said? He said, I've been watching Ken Burns' documentary on country music, too. If you haven't seen it, it's fantastic. But she said that he goes, all right. Once he heard it, he goes, that's your biggest hit. And you can go. You should go. Wow. He knew. But so I thought, well, it fits into my theme. So she just somehow, even subconsciously knew. Anyway, she's my favorite performer.
You're an Oklahoma gal, right?
Mm-hmm.
You grew up loving musical theater and wanting to perform in musical theater, but were you always kind of a country girl as well? Did you have country roots and country music roots?
Yeah, I didn't even grow up wanting to do music theater.
Oh, really?
I wanted to grow up doing country and gospel. And then I wanted to be a ballerina, but that I knew that wasn't going to work out because I'm lacking height. A couple of important things, long legs. But I started singing in church, and it just evolved into me wanting to go to Nashville. And I went there and worked at Opryland way back when they had the camp, which not a camp, but a big amusement park. And it was the live musicians. Like, it wasn't taped. Everybody was live. And I said to my dad, I'm going to stay here. I'm not going back to OCU. It was after my freshman year. And he said, no, you're going back to school. I said, no, thank you, though. And he said, no, get in the car. And he took me back. And I'm glad he did, because I got my degree. And my world did open up with my voice teacher at Oklahoma City University, OCU. And I ended up getting an opera degree and then a master's. And then it kind of went there. And then right before I was to go to Philadelphia to study more classical music, I got a part at Paper Mill Playhouse. I went to an audition on a whim with my friend, and then I had a real decision to make. What are you gonna do? And I went to Paper Mill Playhouse and starred in Animal Crackers, and that's it. So I didn't really know music. In fact, I don't really know music theater very good today. I just know what kind of music I'm drawn to, and so people always say, remember this musical? And I've educated myself a lot in my adulthood about musical theater. I know it sounds weird to say, right? You're like, wait, what? I love it. I love it.
Do you feel, I think there are some people that you meet who they just feel connected to musical theater. It's almost like they were born with this deep connection to Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Oh, yeah.
Do you feel that, or is it something that has been learned for you because it's been a career that you kind of, I don't want to say fell into, but it wasn't your first inclination?
I think, what's so funny about theater and music theater, I think it goes right along inside of like church. You know what I mean? It's almost like you
could see that.
And country music. Think about it. Country and Broadway, to me, they're both storytellers. So it makes more sense that I would like all these lanes, because to me they fit. For sure, Les Mis, Phantom, I wore those out, but I also was watching Madonna on MTV like crazy. So I loved
Favorite Madonna song?
Oh my gosh. I can't believe I'm about to say this, probably Like a Virgin, and I don't know why. But what I love about her is that she's continued to just keep evolving and changing and going forward with her music, not staying behind. And that's been something that's a challenge for me, because I love old standards so much. A lot of my fans know that, but I also love country music, and I love Ariana Grande, and I love Jennifer Lopez, and I love Bonnie Raitt. So why couldn't I have an album that said all that? I love Dinah Washington, Why couldn't I have an album? Why do I have to stay in a lane? Because there are no more rules anymore, There really aren't. Musically, in an album, it's like they keep wanting the single, but I want a story, but I just did it with all different styles.
What was it like getting Ariana Grande involved?
I can't believe she said yes. She's a very busy young lady, and I never want to be that person to pressure any of my friends who are way more famous and talented than I and busy. I just wanted to do something with her. And
do you and Ariana relate to each other, because you're both
petite,
small, tiny people?
We're like little people. Yeah. I think we are pocket divas. I think hashtag pocket diva. I think probably that's one of the things. I think that, she's this tiny little thing and this huge voice comes out, and people didn't always expect that. And when I met her and she was 10 years old and she was like, I want to be a singer. And I was like, oh, that's sweet, good luck. And skip to biggest star on the planet, So I'm really proud of her. And it just seemed like if I'm going to get to have Reba and Dolly on my record, and J Hud, by the way, who sings her face off,
that's right.
I want to have all generations, if I can. And I feel lucky that I got to do that.
Did you ever feel like, you kind of mentioned it, this little thing that can belt out and sing. Did you ever feel like people didn't expect that to come from you? And when you would audition or you would show up places, people...
Oh, I know they didn't.
Really?
And that was kind of like, I was never really taken seriously in life. Just in high school or middle school, it was kind of like, oh, there's Shorty Chenoweth over there, until I sang. And then people leaned in. And I remember feeling I hate to use this word, but I guess the power in that. But I also always reserved it, like, not going to use that for power. I'm just going to when I have something really big to say, I'm going to sing it. I think that's what kind of began my love of, yeah, this voice is big. I mean, it's big. And I'm 4'11", so I don't know where it comes from. Really don't.
Do you, first it was singing and gospel, country music, and then musical theater came. When did acting come for you?
When I was about 7.
So you were acting.
I was doing ballet, but I was doing major ballets with Tulsa Ballet Theater and at my school, and my ballet teacher was a very, very strong teacher with acting. She's like, don't dance it if it doesn't mean anything to you. So I started acting. I got a part in The Nutcracker when I was 7. I tried out to be one of the mice. I tell this story all the time. I didn't get it because I was too short to fit the costume of the mice. Think about that for a second. So she says to me, the director, you're going to play the role of the rabbit. You're going to, originate. And I thought, oh, well, what's the rabbit do? She said, the rabbit sits next to Clara all of Act 2 as the rabbit. Oh, so no leaping, no spinning, no turning, the things I've been working for. Great. But I can do that. So I sat there as a bunny the entire Act 2, and one of the props, a big vine, fell center stage, front and center. And I'm sitting back there with Clara, and I thought, what would a bunny do? And I knew, I just hopped out there, I put it in my mouth, hopped back, and the audience went insane. It was a ballet audience. It was Tulsa, about our professional dance company in Oklahoma, and the audience went crazy, and I thought, oh, I like this. But what it taught me is I was in the moment. I was acting as what a bunny would do. So it was an early lesson of you have to be the character. And whenever I'm not being real or authentic, I can tell immediately when I'm acting when I'm in a role.
Of course.
Whether it's Broadway, film, TV, I can tell immediately. If it's inauthentic, I'm like, oh, got to do that again. Not good.
But the weirdest thing about that is sometimes other people can't tell. Like even your director or even someone who you think should tell, you'll say like, can we do that again? I just felt really unauthentic and it was really bad. And someone will be like, no, that was amazing what you were doing. You're like, no, it was terrible.
Well, what else you learn too is that sometimes you are so hard on yourself that you don't need to go back. Many directors have said to me, are you actually the one where you tried, you're not as good.
Right.
I'm like, wait, stop right there because you're just blowing my mind. But, you have to just, you have to let it go. And to quote, Adina, you have to just let it go, and just be in the moment. Like Oprah says, be in the moment. Live that way. Do it in music. Do it in acting. Do it in your friendships, your daughter, brother. People have my whole life been like, is that real? Is that a real voice? Is that really how she is? Pretty much. I mean, I have my good days and bad days like everybody else.
What does a bad day look like?
Well, I mean, even this morning I was up getting to sing on the Today Show, and I mean, I say I got to do that, right? That's cool. But I got up at 4:50 to warm up. So, my dog is kind of looking at me like, go away, and I get there and I'm like, put on the mic. I'm like, that feels, I'm just being not cranky, but I had to check in with myself and go, you get to do this today. Right. You don't have to. You get to. And you get to sing, which is your favorite thing in the world to do. So, we all just have, like, my bra was weird. You guys know what I mean. Like,
but you also get to be a little cranky, too.
Yes. It's just called being human.
Yeah.
And there's this misconception that, because she's happy, seemingly happy all the time, that she's happy all the time. And, that's just not true.
I think there's also a misconception about performers, be they singers or actors, especially on a press tour, which is that, like, I'm in this building every day, right?
Uh-huh.
So if you see me as a crank on Tuesday, you're going to see me on Wednesday as like a pretty good guy, maybe, because things have changed a little bit.
I love that you're bringing this up.
Whereas a performer, I'm only going to see you today on Monday. So if you show up as a crank, you're going to walk away, and I can turn to everybody I know and be like, Kristin Chenoweth, she's a real pill. Like, she's kind of a diva, right? And the thing is that, like, on Tuesday, you might be totally fine.
It's like, we all
may have gotten news this morning that I don't know about that, like, is like devastating, but you're like, okay, I'm going to go sing on the build stage now.
Yes, see, you get it. It's called life. Dolly has a song called Sacrifice on one of her albums, one of her recent albums. It's all about being an artist and sacrificing weddings, funerals, graduations. And now this is our choice, obviously. But yeah, you have to make the decision that your life is going to be in front of people, if you so choose to be that way, and also people are going to judge you. Sometimes you meet someone one time, and I do want people to walk away having an encounter with me, no matter how small or big. Just that, okay, she's nice. I always want to lead with kindness, but still, I have my moments. Like, where's the mic pack?
Yeah.
Where's the, and people
It's
are like,
weird.
what's wrong with her?
I
She
will
woke
say
up on the wrong side of the bed.
It's weird for me to talk to you about having moments because you don't. I've never seen you have a moment. You've been here multiple times and you've always been incredibly nice and gracious. It's weird to bring up you having diva-ish moments on the stage.
We all do. We all get our panties in a wad.
Yeah.
Don't we?
I do all the time. Always
That
in a
feels
wad.
so good, doesn't it?
Yeah. We actually have a question coming in from Twitter. It's Kristin, how do you prepare for a role every time you're cast in a new project?
That's good. Monica, I see you. I think for me, I always want the history of a character. Even if I'm playing like a pink poisonous frog, I want to know where she's from, what she eats, what's her favorite thing to wear. Like, I'm that detailed. And so then by the time I get to a rehearsal, I've already done all my homework, and then I can just be free to play. I also am this is how I work. Not everybody's this way. I like to memorize really quick so that when I get out there at rehearsal, I can then play. The words have to be right on the tip of your tongue, like you would say it, like I'm speaking to you now. If I'm thinking about it, then you're going to know it's not real.
Well, if you're thinking about it, you can't play.
Right. So it's got to be memorized, and I've got to get it in my mouth. Does that make sense? Like getting it in your mouth.
I mean, I feel like that's kind of a director's dream, right? They
Yeah.
don't want anybody, for the most part on set, being like, line, because there's nothing, especially the other actors, not going to get anything from them.
Yeah, and I'm so used to what's been required of me is
On the stage.
result-oriented. Go, go. Actually, stage, we have more time than in film and TV, but it's still not, we don't linger.
But by the time you're performing and you're in those later rehearsals, you have it memorized so you can see what you can come up with together.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
The process is my favorite thing in the world. People go, oh, you just like doing the shows. Oh, the shows are like the cherry on the top. I like the process of rehearsal. That's what Mary Mitchell and I, my music director, the process of a song and finding it. What's it mean to me? That's my favorite part. That's the part not a lot of people see,
Yeah, well, I mean, once you get like 3 weeks into a show that's been opened, you're just kind of doing it at that point. I mean, it's wonderful, I'm assuming, but there isn't that, and there's probably still a slight sense of discovery in every show, but not like the months leading up to it.
Oh, yeah, the months leading up to it. It's just like
You're just talking about the work and figuring it out.
and then it's the first audience, whether it's previews or opening, the first audience tells you, if you listen, they're going to tell you what kind of piece you got,
Yeah.
But you got to listen. That's another thing I love about live performance, because it's a beautiful relationship between the artist, the actor, and an audience. It's a give-take. That's why no one show will ever be the same. And that's, again, I mean, people get high on many things. Mine is that.
A couple questions from the audience. Who's right here? Hi.
Hi, good morning. I'm Joy.
Hi, Joy.
Besides your faith, how do you handle stage fright, if you have any? And how did someone with such a magnificent voice become the silent Miss Noodle on Sesame Street?
Miss Noodle, I can't believe you know that. I had worked with Bill Irwin on Broadway in my Broadway debut. It was a play called Scapan. And Bill had cast me in that play. And then he said, would you want to do, I play Mr. Noodle, and we have Mr. Noodle, Michael Jeter. Would you want to be Ms. Noodle? I was like, well, I don't know what that is, but I'm not going to say no to you. And it's Sesame Street. And so that's how that evolved. And again, I went back to Theater 101 of mime and acting and what do you do when you can't speak? And obviously you guys can tell I'm pretty animated. So you can imagine that was fun for me to play a character where I don't speak. It was so fun. It was like constant charades, I guess what I want to say about stage fright is an interesting thing that's happened as I've aged. And I don't want to put it out there because I don't want to put it in the universe, but I've gotten more nervous as I've gotten older. I'm not sure why, because I think maybe when I was coming up, I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know what I didn't know. Now I'm like, oh crap, I know. So now I know what's the writing on that, and so I get more nervous. Also, with more success, more is expected from you. When you're an unknown and you make it, it's a shock, right? With more success, I remember I heard Audra McDonald talk about this once. She goes, I'm getting more nervous. I mean, getting more like, if there's more pressure. And I related to that. Plus, you don't want to disappoint. There were actors for a reason. I mean, we do go to therapy, you know, because we need to get it out. But there's still that part of us that wants to be a pleaser. I don't know. It's weird.
Do you find that as you've gotten older, you are more nervous with performing, but not as nervous as you are with just being who you are and in your own skin? And
I'm definitely more comfortable with being who I am in my own skin. Definitely. Yeah. Because at this point, you just like, it is what it is. The good, bad, and the ugly, take it, you know.
I could try to change, but I've been around. Yeah.
I mean, it's just, we were talking about it before the show. We just do our best in life. And we get hills and valleys. Hills and valleys. And if anybody doesn't believe that, let's just check in with anybody, famous or not. And right before I go on stage, if I'm nervous, I do pray. I do a little stretch. I do a little, and then I just go, let it go. Go out there and sing the lyric. They're better singers than me. Yeah, no kidding. Better actors than me, for sure. But if I'm in the moment and doing my authentic truth, I don't think people can get too mad at me, you know?
Well, there's also got to be a sense as well that they came for you. There's not much wrong you can do.
Yeah, it's nice. But then there's also somebody that got dragged with their family. You know, like, you're coming to see this girl, and they're like, ugh. So, yeah, there's always going to be somebody in the audience that doesn't know who you are. And if your own show that has been drug along with their brother, sister, wife, or husband, you know, neighbor, friend, whatever. And I always enjoy hearing from those people. Like, I hear this a lot. You know, I didn't know you as a singer. I didn't know you as a performer or anything, but I'm so glad I came tonight. And I always think that's the biggest compliment. I always take that and go, thank you, God. You know, I love to hear that.
Next question. Oh, we're wrapping it up. Okay.
Oh, wow, that's 'cause I can talk.
We're not wrapping it up just yet because you are going to be singing for everybody. What songs are you going to be doing, or what song are you going to be doing?
Today I chose for this kind of intimate feel and for everybody watching, one of my favorite songs that Glenn Frey wrote, for, you know, and sang, Desperado. But I heard it, first time I heard it, it was Linda Ronstadt. And I came to understand that a woman can actually sing a man's song. And I've taken that with me, and now I fully orchestrated it on the album, but I really understand the song now a little bit more. And
I have to ask, because the first time I heard it was a Seinfeld episode. Have you ever seen the Seinfeld episode?
No.
You've never seen the episode where Elaine is dating a man who can't have conversations with people if Desperado comes on because he's just too emotionally involved in the song? And so Elaine tries to find her own song that she can be emotionally involved in, and it ends up being Witchy Woman. And everybody thinks it's really weird that she has chosen Witchy Woman.
Oh, guess what I'm going to YouTube tonight?
Oh, you should watch that episode. It's very funny.
I've sung Witchy Woman, too. That's
when
funny.
the song comes on, he just stares straight ahead and goes, shh, I can't.
Oh, my God. Let's see that. This is my address. I get this whole thing. And then in life, everything's a song.
Yeah.
People are sick of me. They're like, what are you doing today or tomorrow? I'm like, tomorrow. I can't stop it. It's just one thing after another.
Well, For the Girls is available now in stores where people can buy records and CDs, and they can listen to it on Spotify or iTunes. And I can't wait to hear your version of Desperado. I'm sure it's beautiful. Kristin Chenoweth, everybody. Let's hear it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.